Hello, this video is about Spine versions. If you are here to know how to downgrade your Spine project, you can skip to the second portion of the video, since in this one I'm going to cover a little bit more details about Spine Editor and how it actually delivers assets to the game. As you may know, Spine is a tool for creating 2D animation for games, VFX, characters, environments. They can be done easily and be optimized, also looking pretty nice. Well, let's start talking about the ways you can export your works. It heavily depends where you want to use them. So Spine offers several versions. You can export them as videos, image sequences, GIFs, and finally data as JSON or binary. The last ones are mostly used in game engines. When you select export as JSON, Spine generates a text file that contains all the information game engines need in JSON format. That is standardized format. You may read about it in internet. While binary is, I think it's exactly the same, but encoded so it can produce smaller file size, which also makes it a little bit less compatible between the versions. Along with the JSON file, you can also export a sprite sheet that comes with the Atlas text file. That file contains information about the images, sprites, or attachments, how they are located in that final sprite sheet. So later, game engine can actually separate those attachments and with the help of JSON, locate them in the scene and animate them. So we end up having a Spine editor that updates every time, improves, adds different features, improvements, and we have runtime. Runtimes are a collection of code or libraries that enable your game engine to load and show your Spine assets, exactly how you see them in Spine editor. There are official runtimes that cover most of the popular game engines. Also, there are third-party runtimes that are made by community. So make sure exactly you research before picking up a runtime. With all that said, let's get back to the issue with the Spine versions. Why do we get them and how to fix them and maybe avoid in the future? When game is in development process, it's easy to avoid. There is no issue with the versions because you are using your latest official runtimes for your game engine alongside with the Spine editor at the latest stable version. Issue may come when you are freezing your code being near at the launch, but you don't freeze your Spine editor for some reason. If you are an animator, make sure before starting any project you know exactly what version of Spine you have to use to avoid later problems with incompatibility. If you are a game developer, freeze the exact version of Spine editor because even minor updates can become not compatible with your running runtime. Finally, let's face the problem. We are going to downgrade project from 3.8 to 3.7. And if you are working with different versions, the process should be the same, maybe some minor differences. Let me know in the comments, I will try to help with them. So let's see. We have a project here done in 3.8 Spine version. We are going to downgrade it to 3.7. So our runtimes can render it properly. I have opened it in 3.8 version of Spine. Oh no, I will open it now. And you can see it opens without any problem. Just showing us that another more recent version is available. Let's try animation, and it looks fine, as it should be. Let's close and reopen it with a 3.7 version to make sure it really doesn't open. Well, we are receiving two errors. One is cannot be opened, and the other one hotkey error. This is not related to the other one, so it just says it can read the hotkey files, and to avoid this you just can go and delete this hotkey txt file, but that will revert all the changes to the default values. Hotkey txt you can find located here in the files section, I believe. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so now what we are going to do is to grab a skeleton viewer file. Let's type it here. Okay, here we have versions. I will grab the latest one, this one. Let's keep it and put it inside this project. It doesn't matter. Now let's reopen the project with 3.8 and export JSON file so we can feed it to the jar file. Let's select 3.899. To export JSON, we need to enter menu, hit export, and select JSON. Make sure you have selected non-essential data. This data is not necessary for game engines, but we will need it to reconstruct project properly. Okay, let's select the folder we want to export it here. Note that I have left Texture Atlas unchecked since we don't need sprite sheet to recover our project. We just need JSON file. Let's check it. Okay, here we have JSON file. In JSON file you can quickly see the version. Next, let's see what we actually downloaded. We will be using this tool to downgrade the project. The name suggests this tool is for opening and checking your skeletons and seeing them exactly how they would look in the game. As far as I know, it works exactly the same as a preview window in Spine Editor. Now let's reopen this tool, but this time using command line. For that I'm going to use command prompt on Windows and terminal on macOS. There shouldn't be much differences. I will be doing on Windows. You can figure out, I think. Let's drag this file here and hit enter. It just opened the file as it would from double clicking on the file. This time we want to open it with some instructions. We want to specify a class that contained within this jar. Jars are Java archive files that can be opened with corresponding programs, and you can see and find the class that we are actually going to specify. Let's find a comment for that. Here Nate has a great post explaining most of the things that I'm saying here. Steps to do that. It uses Java. Java is required. If you don't have, go and grab the latest version, not lower than 8. CP means copy, which allows us to create a file, which will be our downgraded JSON file. This is the path to the jar file we have downloaded. This is the class I mentioned. This is going to do actual rollback. This is the path to the input file. This is the version number and the output file path. Okay, let's copy part by part and construct our command. This we need for sure. The next one, you can write yourself the path or drag and drop the file, this file. Let's hit space and next provide the class name, class path. We just copy it, paste and hit space. Next comes the input JSON. This is not a name but a path, so let's drag it here. And so let's specify the version number 3.7, hit space, and once again drag this file, but this time we want to name the file so it creates a new one. Let's name it Downgraded. Okay, hit enter and we see file is generated. We are almost there. We have exported file for 3.7. We just need to import it. So I have opened Spine with 3.7. Let's try to import it. Let's import data. Let's select downgraded version. And okay, I don't need to say keep sales. That's it. We now have a 3.7 version of the exact same flag. You may notice some curves may be broken or some other glitches, but it's fixable. That's it. Thank you for watching. If you have questions, always feel free to post in comments. I will be answering them happily. Bye.